everyone, and welcome to Engineer's Edge, a podcast by I Square IT. In this podcast series, we are here to answer all your queries related to engineering as a career option. Right from what is engineering, what is the admission process, what are the skills required to thrive in this industry, what are the upcoming technologies in this industry. We have covered everything for you. Today, we are going to talk on semiconductor industry. And we have with us Dr. Mohan Naidu. Hello, sir. Uh, now, before diving deep into the semiconductor industry, what are the trends, what are the skill sets required to thrive in this industry, I want to understand what is this semiconductor industry and what does it consist of?
Yes, Professor Meenals, yeah, so good question. To understand the semiconductor industry in a layman approach. So the semiconductor industry is a group of companies who are basically into designing and fabrication of the semiconductor components and devices such as transistors and integrated circuits and SOCs and various components which are essential for many of the gadgets that are actually being used by us. And in this, just to understand it in a layman approach, that way back in 1960 the industry is started taking shape, and otherwise the name, the transistor terminology is actually coined up way back in 19th century, 1902 and all that. And so but then prominently after World War II, when the people started using the silicon, germanium and all these materials, have actually really appreciated the materials strength of so using them in the industry, semiconductor industry, because the semiconductor industry basically uses the solid state components, which otherwise replaces the vacuum tubes, which were the things that been used for the computers and all that in that era. So from the 1960, once the solid state devices basically started so coming to the are appreciating. So briefly to update the history and then its origin, that the from 1960s was very primitive of its use, solid state devices uses in the semiconductor industry. From there onwards, and so exponentially growth taking place in this industry. And today, if you look at, without the semiconductor components, we do not see any technology development in almost any sector that we name. And so as per the statistics, the market capacity, the growth in terms of the economy that is being generated from this industry annually is for about more than $500 billion. The major consumption of the semiconductor components is actually so towards the network and communications, of about 30, more than 30% of its produce is being used in this vertical, and other segments are also actually consuming these components.
Okay, wonderful. So, as you mentioned that the semiconductor industry began in way back 1960s, and then it has developed, or I would say it has evolved in this way. Having understood this, I want to know that what are the current trends that are going in this industry?
Yeah, Professor Meenal, so it's again another interesting question to say augment the earlier question, that currently the supply chain diversification is at a stage where the countries are in fact showing their dislike moving away from the China and India, its initiatives of Indian semiconductor mission and all that are actually the it's what you call, so it's basically so happening, and much of the countries are actually showing interest in Indian industry and then manpower. And then right now the India's growth in this sector is around 60. So and also the India's commitment is in fact spell out its trends that what exactly we are thinking about this industry to set up and attract. Many of the companies are already well established to bring the technology transfer and creating the manufacturing hubs and all that. So we are right now, so the India government of India, so India is aiming at around 60 billions by 26, and then so doubling it by next say 2 to 3 years. This is one point which basically so sets a trend, and so say where India is actually and so looking towards the semiconductor industry. So though there are major players globally, and another point of so interest to mention is that India is actually say looking around the small process nodes, which are the high demanding in demand semiconductor say components, which basically so of about 45 nanometers. That's also again spell out and so how exactly the semiconductor industry is currently, and so it's a trend, and then how exactly the India is looking to cater to that. And apart from that, so the various events that are being organized by the in India is also so showcasing the current trends in that, and then accordingly working toward those needs.
You talked about these nodes. Yeah, can you highlight more about it?
Yeah, these nodes are something like, so I mean, we have seen the vacuum tubes, then seen so small scale integrations, seen medium scale integrations, and then are witnessing the VLSI very large scale integrations. And now the trend is actually SoCs, the system on chip. That so I have an entire system on a single chip. So that miniaturization in this industry is where is actually so driving us to think that how smaller and smaller that I can actually make, and then say it's easy to think, but then say the challenges comes in manufacturing, and then so entire process of manufacturing of such miniaturized, we are talking about 45 nanometers, not even micro, but then we are talking about nanometers of the size 10 power 9 minus 9. So that's where I think so there's a small process nodes are the trends that are in need, and India is looking upon to set up such manufacturing hubs, been already so in discussion with several so well established players.
So you just mentioned that India is planning to establish these manufacturing units. Okay, can you tell us more about this?
Yes, Mr. Professor Mainal. So India is actually thinking to set up this manufacturing hubs in semiconductor related since a decade, but then looking at the available facilities and the manpower in that so the global talent in design and fabrications. Now the foreign players are say showing interest to come down to the India, and then so as you rightly mentioned that the recent discussions and so from the various BBCs and then so news agencies and also government of India's portals, that so Macron is a company which has already so signed an MOU to invest of about 3 billions in this industry, and then they've already started way back like a year or two back in somewhere in the state of Gujarat into the testing and then assembly of the so several components, and also few more so such setups are already so are in place like so in one more in Gujarat and also one in Assam. And right now the government of India's incentives in basically in this particular so sector to attract more of the well established companies to establish their manufacturing hubs in India is in fact is say kind of turning point, so for the people to come and set up their the companies. And Falcon is another one basically so had talks with Vedant and all that, and so maybe so that will get materialized. And so there are again untold companies are already so somewhere in the advanced stage of their manufacturing units being set up here in India. And apart from this, the point to highlight is that so more than 1 lakh crore incentives have been already consumed, which are actually earmarked for this industry. And now recently, so few days back, so what I could see from the news agencies that so another one more of like 75,000 crores are being earmarked for this industry as an incentives for those companies to set up their manufacturing units in India.
Okay, so what I understand is there are many companies for an investment also, which is going to happen in the semiconductor industry. So what I want to now understand is that what impact this will have on our R&D's section.
Yes, so we are, I think, coming to the core concept of this discussion altogether is because India is known for its talent in almost all the verticals, and that is actually so proven that we need not again ratify further. Looking at the kind of say our talents, their presence in almost every sector across the globe, and here to highlight the kind of talent that we have in particular for this semiconductor industry, that so the point here to highlight is that around 20% of the global talent is from India. And again, another point to add here is that the well established semiconductor companies, most of the companies R&D sectors are established in India already. So that itself shows that say the talent that we have, the right talent to cater to the needs of the semiconductor industry. And again, so to again bring out a kind of the statement to be consumed by the prospect students who are taking up these sector branches as their career, that so to come to this is only one vertical we are so highlighting, but then there are multiple other verticals are possible in which the electronics students are telecommunication students or even software and IT students can take up the verticals.
Okay, so what I believe is there is tremendous scope in the R&D sector. Also, with so many companies is having their production units. One you mentioned in Assam and two are upcoming in Gujarat. Okay, so I believe there would be a lot of changes in the job market too. So what would be these changes? What should the students expect with this development? And second, uh, what are the skill sets they need to prepare?
Yeah, excellent, Professor Meenal. Now, this is the point where we need to really understand or make the people who are wishing to take up the jobs or the prospects in this vertical, that the R&D is one vertical which its need is actually is a little minimized, but then so much more consumption is in the other verticals which are supporting, like say design designing and design engineers, so that's one of the job role. So and process engineers, where the people look so take care of the entire process of the manufacturing this semiconductors. And software engineers, again, who will basically code the things that are required. Maybe the coding might differ, like say from the regular CCPP, because similar coding is again required. The kind of skill set that are required for the software engineers in semiconductor industry is the VHDL coding or Verilog coding, which they really code to configure the each hardware cell like flip-flop or storing elements. So these are the few things to basically narrate, but then there are several other verticals in which there's a huge demand, though we claim that there are no jobs in this vertical. But unlike in other job prospects in this vertical, one needs to plan it, prepare it, and then really get into the industry. So that planning without prior planning, it's difficult to really readily get into the so any of the semiconductor industry related company, is because it's not a event based acquisition in this vertical. So it is a process. So the moment we say process of acquiring knowledge of working level, it needs time of those skills to acquire, and really uh, meeting the needs of the industry. That's where the upcoming students, the students who are basically taking these circuit branches, have to really focus on that from the day one. They need to really focus that they are for this, and then they need to prepare and acquire the required skill set in a process manner.
Okay, wonderful. So I understand the skill set that is required to be in this industry. And you also mentioned that we need to prepare for these languages, right? So maybe Verilog you mentioned and VHDL you mentioned. So do students need to learn these assembly level languages too?
Yeah, so almost you are now becoming expert in fact in this vertical process minerals. This is the right question, that so many of the people, many of the students who are the prospect engineers, like so taking up the jobs, are missing out. Is this, and so understanding or getting the skill in assembly language. So here, a general languages that are there will meet the requirements of optimization. There is a concept called optimization, so that I write a code and I basically meet the set specification of the performance. What if I want to really compete and to position ourselves to the global market, that yes, now maybe like I'm getting this component at a consumption of, say, this much of power. Then what if I needs to actually reduce that power consumption by that particular component or semiconductor element. Then so that's where I buy, so the Indian company or the company who is manufacturing the same component is actually better than the other companies producing the same. Now the concept of optimization comes into picture, that the general soft, so languages may not be sufficient. There I need to really combine with the assembly language. This combining the assembly language along with the generic language like a C, a CPP and all, is called inline programming. There is something concept called inline programming, where we will identify the time tight related to performance, and then what if I can actually reduce by reducing the number of lines, like 100 to 10 lines, by combining the assembly. So in that perspective, yes, one needs to know, it's always advisable to actually understand and learn the assembly language along with the general purpose languages.
Now, coming to the opportunities in this sector, um, which are the companies that provide job opportunities in this sector?
Yes, so it's well known, like even small kid also in India or across the globe can actually name who are the semiconductor industries, like so Samsung, Intel, IBM. So and the Moss, yeah, in this, and so one more company which is actually the Indian company, which is actually competing globally with these all well established companies, is the Moss chip. Moss chip, which is I think so established way back in 1999 or 2000. So in somewhere in Hyderabad, is actually positioning itself. And apart from this company, there are more than dozen well established startups, because of the government of India's initiatives to encourage the manufacturing hubs and all that. So there are so more than dozen companies we can name readily, which are somewhere uh, we can name. They are in fact playing a major role in really shaping the industry, and also providing the job prospects. May not be and so directly into the Intel and say some sort of say other companies, Samsung and all that, but then these startups are are creating a base for those entry level level engineers who are just so fresh graduates, or then so with so maybe with no experience or no minor experience, so like say 1 2 years of experience, can plan to get associated with these startups. And then once they acquire that really desired skill set that are being looked upon by those well established companies, so B A or CBA, that's how I think maybe it's advised to plan.
Okay, so you talked about the companies, you talked about the skill set that is required to thrive in this industry. Now, can you highlight certain job positions or job roles so that it is easy for students at iSquare IT to target the job opportunities?
Yes, so Professor Meenal, like so at iSquare IT, we nurture the fresh first year, just soon after first year when they come to the department. So the electronics and telecommunication engineering students are nurtured to take up the jobs in this domain, core domain verticals, is because and so nobody else can compete with their skill set, because they are acquiring these skill sets through a process of studying the hardcore analog electronics and digital electronics and their uses in other verticals. So from the second year, third year, and also through their electives and all that. So that way we are nurturing them to take up the domain related jobs starting from the second year. And also, apart from the software skills, the skills that are required in the IT industry, we are highlighting the needed skill sets by inviting the industry experts who are in these verticals. And if you look at, and so historically, all our industry interactions are primarily focused on this domain skills related only, so that right from the second year these students can in fact plan that by the time they come to the final year, they are industry ready, that to take up the jobs in this vertical. And other than these kids, these students, nobody else can compete with them, is because all other branch of students would in fact and so needs to again come back and study the analog electronics, the digital electronics, and so many other things that are required. That's how I think we are nurturing our students, in particular in the branch of electronics and telecommunications, right from the second year, by the faculty members themselves, while we teach the concepts, basic concepts, because without the basic concepts it's nothing is possible. So our cup of tea is to basically nurture them, understand the basic concepts, and develop kind of applications, problem solving skills, analytical skills, to really cater to the needs of the industry, is where something so they will be solving the challenges. And through these industry interactions, we are nurturing them to really make them understand and prepare.
Okay, so I understand the department is working a lot, putting in a lot of efforts for the students to nurture them right from the second year till their final year. So, do you conduct any specific seminars or give them or internship opportunities to enhance their skill set?
Yes, so Professor Meenal, we have 30 hours of add-on courses. Again, another set of courses which are being again delivered by the industry experts is the value-added courses. Apart from the 1 to 2 hours, 3 hours of the industry interactions by the experts to brief that what are the things that are required. So these are the things that actually on training part are preparing them. And then so another point that you mentioned is the so do we provide or do we encourage them to take up the internships and all that? Yes, so thanks to maybe Pune University curriculum, the curriculum that we have is that right from the second year they have the connecting courses right in the syllabus, that the project based learning. Again, there we encourage them to take up work on the hardware related projects. And with the mechanical way of looking at it, like so as a life of an engineer should start like a mechanic, where I need to actually assemble and make things right and the work and all that, then how I can actually bring in some sort of automation in that, and so how I can actually make it more smart and all that, how industry say 1.0 to current industry 4.0 and then upcoming industry 4 5.0, that is like so incorporating the AIML into the thing. So that's how the curriculum is in fact, and so catering the needs. They right from the second year they study about the programming and also PBL. Third year they'll be studying the programmings and the core concepts of the domain ENTC, and also we have another course called mini project and also internship. And then final year, so they have a major project. So mostly in the major project they'll be solving the industry related problems. Here the facility that what we create is that we have more than 2 dozen associations are the MOUs, memorandum of understandings, are associations with the industry. So where we basically understand what you require, and then so can you basically so take up our students for this internship of say 1 month to even 6 months duration in a hybrid mode. Also in the final year we encourage the students to take up the industry sponsored, technically sponsored projects, and working from the right say soon after the third year to till the final year, work closely with the industry. So right in the learning phase itself they are acquiring the corporate experience, and that 1 year of exposure working on the live projects through their sponsor projects is I think sets a tone that they are even well ahead of the say the what you call bench the kind of benchmark the expectations by the industry.
Okay. So, like having understood the kind of exposure the department is giving, you have a lot of collaborations with different industries in terms of MOUs. And also the curriculum is supporting students to take up these internship opportunities. Now, suppose if a student want to search for internship opportunities on his own, okay. So, in that scenario, what kind of job positions or job roles should the student look for?
Professor Meenal, yes, so this is where something we need to highlight that the job roles that are possible in this vertical. So mostly the job roles are into so IT related. So that's like so developers, coders, developers, and testers. And apart from this, so analysts and all are the verticals. Now these are the conventional job roles that are available. Then so in this particular industry, what are the job roles that are available is that the primarily design engineers, process engineers, again so VHDL developers like in CPP. So again developers for the semiconductor programmable components are the 3 or 4 major verticals, and each vertical have again more than 20 sub job roles that are possible based on the various skill sets that are being acquired by like RTL engineer or SOC engineer, system on chip engineer, and within the process engineer again. So there again several others. So it's all based on the what skills in this particular vertical of semiconductor so industry basically focused and acquired and so are basically these job roles are open. But otherwise this is something less spelled out that what are the job roles. But maybe as a suggestion is that so I do post all the domain specific job roles in my LinkedIn profile to nurture the students, though they may require some say 1 year of experience, 2 3 4 years of experience, but then all these job roles so the job roles are being so spelled out what are the skill sets that are required, so that a second year kid, third year kid, and final year kid actually can look at, okay, if I wish to become this particular say this thing, then what I need to learn right from the second year with the core electronics concepts of analog and digital electronics, and what other skill set that are required to really positioning himself or herself into that. So otherwise there are like so more than 20 job roles that are possible within the design engineer itself, and again within the process engineer we have, again within the software developer for the semiconductor, again so there are job roles.
This is what actually a student require, the definite skill set and the job position, so they can correlate and they can plan their career journey. So that is wonderful what you are offering to our students. Wonderful, sir. You mentioned that 80% is the job roles are available within the IIT sector and 20% into the core one. Now, when a student is applying for any job position, okay, he constantly compares that my friend who is in computer or IT is getting a good salary package, whereas if I go into the core sector, I may not land up with the same package. So, how would you like to address this issue?
Yeah, Professor Meenal, so there is some misconception in this, the pay packets. Somewhere, we are mixing several job roles. The job roles, specifically in the semiconductor industry, are much the entry level job role itself, like so where I am in talk with some of the senior recruiting managers of the well established companies. The BTech graduate with the required skill set, the starting package itself is 12 lakh per annum. So here there is again some sort of misunderstanding or misconception that okay, whether I'm looking as a VLSI engineer, a design engineer, and so are the job into the VLSI related industry or semiconductor industry are embedded. Embedded is again another, and so you say again a vertical of semiconductor, that all these chips that are being produced in this industry are being used and applications are developed. So that vertical is what we have is embedded systems. The pay packets are so are much better than the IT related jobs, but again maybe somewhere on a lower side compared to the semiconductor related or job roles. And again within embedded systems, again there are again another sub roles where whether I'm a PCB engineer, which this is something like so engineer is not required to put in their man hours into that is actually so undervalued. Then PCB designing is again the core competency is required for any electronics engineer. So that's where, and so I mean to conclude on this point is that the pay packets are the best in the industry is because the engineers who are wishing to the electronics and telecommunications are ENT students who are basically wishing to take up the jobs. It is first thing is that it is difficult to acquire the knowledge because they need to really give their time starting from the second year, understanding all the subjects and also those extra skill set that are required. And from there, so they the so once sort of and the pay packets are, and so nothing below sort of like 12 lakh per annum is as per my understanding. And that's what, and so when I talk to okay, so how much are you offering, the same thing is, and so at an entry level in other verticals are much less, even say one fourth, even much less. And so but anyway, again I want to highlight here, instead of looking at the pay packets in the various job roles, what I see is the competency that is being built up by giving time in nurturing the self of acquiring the required skills. So there may be some sort of up downs as of the consumption of these engineering graduates being passed out from the institutions by the industry, looking at the demand and supply sort of. So it can be some sort of curvy sort of, but then maybe when the market is doing good, So I mean, say there is like so 100 jobs and so only 10 people are available. Maybe in another scenario that so it may be even the other way around, that okay, only 10 jobs are available, 100 people are available, 100 takers. Now here what I really advise strongly, that I need one job. I need one job. Why I am so why cannot I basically and so be eligible for that one job? So that's where something like the to self analysis, that what is that actually I'm unable to stand at that say top 10. So where I'm in the say zone of actually getting selected into. That's where something like so maybe if my skills are compromised, or I have less skills than the required, then and expecting to actually take up the job, is I think there is a mismatch of really thought process and the plan and preparation. So I strongly advise is that they need to acquire the right skill sets while they are in the learning phase itself. And I think so the market scenario may not, I think say really bring in any sort of influence on the job selection and all that, in my opinion.
So wonderfully said, sir. Thanks for clearing this confusion that many of the students have, that we do not have attractive packages in the core sector, while it depends on the sector that we are targeting. So sectors like you mentioned, that embedded and which requires like niche skill set, these sectors offer quite attractive packages. Okay, so one must what do you say, one must upgrade himself with these skills to land up these packages, right? Moving towards the last question, sir. What advice would you give to our students, those who are about to take a leap in their career or who are about to start their engineering journey?
Yes, I think this is a required question to be, I think, put to the passing out graduates. So their time management, and so the prioritizing why they are here. So right from the student, so like say maybe first year, they may take time to understand the environment, and then say the ABCD long ways of engineering. Then when they come to the second year, they are already in the state of forming the words of engineering and sentences, and then paragraphs, and then stories and all that. That's where what I see is that the time utilization properly on the things that are required. So I think so if they really give the time that they require to be spending on a prioritizing, that will I think make them really are not losing their prime time while they are in the learning phase. And when they come to the last phase, like while passing out or after passing out, and then they will not feel void, that yes, so I now need to again join some short-term courses, and again I need to prepare myself, because I maybe have not used my time I mean so on to the required, and say need to again spend time now to acquire more skills. So I mean my strong advice for those so kids is to utilize their time onto the required things. Again, so point to be highlighted here is that what we mean by acquiring knowledge and all that, just so simply giving time to read the recommended books. So the best publishers which are prescribed by the university, that's where we need to really as a teachers, we need to really encourage and inculcate a habit of referring the suggested recommended books from the well-known publishers like McGraw-Hill, Tata McGraw-Hill, LPH, all. Then these are the contents which are actually the curated content. So this will basically, so the concept that you read from that book, whether I read, and should be one and the same. There should not be any difference of its understand on the concept at all. So that's where I think they need to really inculcate a habit of reading the content from the standard books to start with, then going one step ahead is by referring to the research articles that are around, and then maybe gate level questions. Solving the gate level questions is another benchmarking of self, that where I stand is another, the point where they can self test that, okay, maybe I'll take up today, I read this concept, okay, let me try this question. So similarly, I think on the both student side and also teacher side, there must be some sort of sync in understanding, and then hand holding, and then making them understand their time, and then spending that time on the right sorts of material right from the second year, I say. Then second year of engineering is a crucial them to decide what they want to become.
Okay. So I guess time management, or I would say effective time management, is what you're saying. Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for joining in. You have shared your expertise with us. I really enjoyed talking to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Meenal. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity for to elaborate on this. And thanks to the management of I Square IT for the facilities and this opportunity. Thank you.
So friends, if you have enjoyed our today's episode, please like and share our video. If you have any questions regarding to engineering, you can get in touch with us. You can call us or email us. We are here to help you out. Our social media handles are running on the screen. Feel free to follow us, and if you have any queries, you are free to comment there. So thank you very much. Have a good day.